Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Well, hello there, and a good morning at you on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Chris Potter, that was his, is with me, editor of Pittsburgh City Paper, which hits the streets this AM, has in fact
Already done so.
Already done so.
Yeah, you can just feel an elevation in the public discourse.
I know.
As I was out walking the streets.
It's amazing because, you walk, really, seriously, you walk down the street and you see people, their heads down, staring into your work.
The abyss. Oh.
Yeah. Same thing.
That is like one of the weirder things about, the job. This probably doesn't happen to you, of course, because when you're producing media, you're actually,
I'm not.
But it's happening in real time. But yeah, no, you'll be on the bus right over and you'll see somebody like looking at your thing just going,
like, what idiot?
What moron. God, if I ever met that stupid.
Well, let me tell you. I just want to know if I read a lot of news.
Sure.
I only saw this one little sentence, this teeny weeny little sentence here at the bottom. I think this must be the PG.
Yeah.
And I find this a tantalizing thing, but I'd like to know what the hell it means. Ready?
I am.
The Secretary of State is the acting governor of Arizona, his spokesman said Tuesday. And like most in the state capital, he said he has no idea where the actual governor, Jan Brewer, is.
Wow.
You think she's hiking the
Appalachian
Trail?
Yeah, it's down in South America. Yeah.
I bet she's getting like a nip and a tuck.
Yeah, she's probably hiding behind a cactus waiting for illegals to come over the border.
Isn't that odd, though? I mean, doesn't a governor have a duty?
Yeah.
A responsibility to essentially be reachable at any
people know
time, certainly where they are going.
That's odd.
That's odd.
Also, don't they have like a lieutenant governor or something?
Well, that's what.
Or are they all disappeared?
Well, Arizona's an odd state, so maybe the Secretary of State becomes the.
This is like all of a sudden the Chamber of Commerce. The Secretary of Commerce is running the government because everybody else got hit by an asteroid or something.
Do you know, can you go beyond, how far down is what I'm trying to say on the list of who takes over in the event? Having grown up in the Reagan years, all I can tell you is whatever happens, Alexander Haig is ready to take over, right? That is true.
I am in charge.
I am in charge.
Yeah. No, I remember.
I can't go beyond Speaker of the House.
Yeah, then I think it's.
Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
And where is that?
Does the Senate come in there somewhere? No, probably not. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. We should find this out because.
Well, it's in the Constitution, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Usually I
that
have
old thing.
No, I usually have a copy with me. I have yesterday I was quoting from the Bill of Rights. Man, they're elegant. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how long has it been since you just bothered to read one? Pick a number.
Well, 3.
This is the one that doesn't get
exactly. That's why I picked it.
Well, that's okay. All right.
This is quartering of foreign troops, if I recall correctly, or quartering of troops. Yeah, quartering of troops, and
it just flat out says that no soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner.
Yeah.
nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law.
Right. There you go.
But they thought of everything. I mean, almost everything, and they did it in such a way that, it's just beautiful. Beautiful. So they must have thought out the order of succession, too, in such a reasonable manner. Now, speaking of, geniuses at work legislating, I was just reading some stuff that came out of the state legislatures this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You mean bills and such mess?
Yes.
Yes. Hmm.
And even fiery speeches.
Oh, proclamations.
Have you seen Lincoln?
I have. We saw it just this past weekend.
Okay,
actually.
what'd you think?
We liked it.
Yeah. Did you like the speeches? The fiery
it's
speeches?
funny that after it was over, I felt like I basically watched a 19th century version of The West Wing, where the president gets all of these, sort of, witty, off the cuff kind of statements, and everybody else is just sort of bedazzled by his brilliance or whatever. But we liked it quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
The first couple of minutes were a little rocky. I thought the thing with all the soldiers
knowing the Gettysburg Address
was kind of ridiculous. And also, of course, I mean, what people don't know, that speech at the time it was made was widely perceived as kind of a dud.
Well, you're absolutely echoing exactly my response. And I got worried at the beginning.
Yeah, I thought,
oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. What are they doing? This is so stupid and maudlin and historically...
A Spielberg moment, in other words.
Historically incorrect and impossible, and it's unnecessary.
But he pulled it back. He pulled it back in. He reined it back in. It was good.
But that was the worst moment, right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay, well, just some of the highlights of this should not surprise you, these are Republican-controlled legislatures, right? And the Republican governor of Tennessee, Bill Haslam, signed a law into law.
Yeah. Or a bill into law.
That's it. I knew there was.
As they say on Schoolhouse Rock. Yeah.
Signed a bill into a law. And this is a new abstinence-only sex education program. It's the only thing that can be taught in Tennessee. And apparently, the bill refers to gateway body parts.
That sounds like the title of a porno right there.
You can't make this up.
Storming the gates.
Yes. And critics warn that the bill would prohibit any discussion of sexual activity during sexual education.
Oh, I think that's the idea, right?
That was the idea.
Yeah. What are the gateway body parts? Are they listed?
I'm sorry, this particular not go into them. But here is let me give you well, yes indeed. Let me give you, the human body is just one large erogenous zone, right?
That's why you should cover that thing up.
That's it.
He jobs all around.
Okay, so here's the guy who introduced the bill, Senator Campfield. Quote, Senator Campfield. Most people realize that AIDS came from the homosexual community. It was one guy screwing a monkey, if I recall correctly.
You're off to a good start.
At
least he did his research.
And then having sex with men. It was an airline pilot, if I recall. What's so funny about that?
It was on a direct flight from Pittsburgh to Phoenix, Arizona, as a matter of fact. They had a layover.
And Senator Campfield went on to say, my understanding is that it is virtually, not completely, but virtually impossible to contract AIDS through heterosexual sex.
That's the guy you want setting policy for your sex ed classes.
Yeah, that's the guy, though.
Did you drop the N in understanding? Or was that like in the quote? Like there was a little, when you said it's my understanding and you dropped the N, was there like a little apostrophe? Okay, that's too bad. It was just your interpretive reading there.
Okay, this is Tennessee. And apparently there's some other bills here that bear mentioning. The Tennessee legislature passed a bill in April to provide, cover for teachers who question evolution and climate change in their classrooms, along with legislation that classified miscarriages as murder and a bill cracking down on saggy pants.
Gateway pants, as they're known.
Yes, indeedy. Do we have anything else on? Oh, yeah, and there's one other little
cracking
item.
Down on saggy pants.
One
That's funny, too.
other thing from Tennessee. We do have that Republican State Senator Representative Kelly Kiesling emailed constituents, I think the week before the election, that President Barack Obama was planning to stage a fake assassination attempt in an effort to stop the 2012 election. These people, why are we laughing though? Huh?
What else are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Okay.
That was all in Tennessee?
Yeah,
okay.
that was all.
And you're getting this from where exactly? It looks like a rundown from where does this all come from?
Mother Jones.
And did any Pennsylvania legislation?
No, well, it went up to, it just has 7 states here. It doesn't, either it didn't give me the whole thing or whatever, but everything is cited, so they give you an exact.
I don't disbelieve at all the journalism.
Okay.
I'm just disappointed that we didn't crack the list. It seems like people were really working hard.
Yeah, no, this
in Harrisburg.
Indeed, to get on it. Okay, so we move on to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. Oklahoma.
Okay, well, I mean, this doesn't impress me much.
Another
they had this, anti-gay minister invited to address the legislature, and he immediately went into how 9/11 was a warning from God, and then on to bashing the notion that kids across the nation are being taught that they are advanced mutations of a baboon.
When you hear somebody like that speak, you question the adjective advanced.
But as the Mother Jones reporter says after that quote, oh, yawn.
Yeah.
So what else is there? So
basically.
Here's something that Oklahoma's legislature did come up with that I frankly have never heard before. And this is State Senator Ralph Shorty's bill to criminalize the use of human fetuses in food products.
Now, Lynn,
yes.
it may be that there is no law on the books in Oklahoma against that. So there was a loophole.
There was a need. There was a need. He admits he wasn't sure if any companies are actually putting any fetuses in food, but he wants to put a stop to it before it starts.
Now, does it only outlaw the use of human fetuses? Because that could still leave a loophole for alien fetuses to be incorporated into food.
That it says aborted human babies.
Right. So if the baby was born naturally, it could still be used in a food product.
Oh, they better get back on this.
Apparently, the Republican Party in Oklahoma goes a little soft on the use of Jonathan Swiftian satire.
That's right. And Senator Shorty says.
Wait, Senator Shorty?
Yep, that's his name.
That's right. What of it? Listen to me, damn it.
Okay, and he says, I don't know this is going on, but if it is going on, I mean, in fact, could be a possibility that it's going on. And if it's happening, then I just don't think it should even be an option for a company.
Okay, I was surprised to hear this coming from a Republican. I mean, this is exactly the kind of big government overregulation of industry that prevents us from competing in the global stage. The Chinese
they
probably don't have any of these kinds of rules.
Oh, well. Let's go up.
Doggy.
Okay. Up to New Hampshire, where 3 Republican representatives introduced legislation mandating that all new legislation include a direct quote from the Magna Carta.
Was that a joke? That sounds like a joke. That sounds like they were having some fun.
Well, maybe they were. Comedy Central, by the way, has described New Hampshire State House as a bunch of part-time real estate agents throwing monkey shit at a wall. All right, that's enough of that. I got more, but we'll keep that in abeyance for when we need to laugh.
It's true. I I actually can't think of anything just off the top of my head that. I mean, there's worse bills in Pennsylvania, but not so comically funny. I mean,
not that we're aware of. But
yeah,
I mean,
Year of the Bible.
Daryl Metcalf does a lot of.
He does, but it's so like. But that's like this stuff is really just whacked out. Like the stuff he does is sort of within the party, whatever. You know, what I mean? Like everybody, every Republican in every state legislature probably has done the kind of stuff that Daryl Metcalf is doing. He's just the guy in Pennsylvania who does all of it.
Okay, but I hate to say it, it's still whacked.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's, I'm just saying it's not as colorfully whacked out. You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's not as fun to laugh at.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well.
What was it? Gateway body parts?
Yes,
that was it. Gateway body parts. Yeah. In my home state, we called them bathroom parts.
And the Republican Party wonders why they're
having a hard time with younger voters.
Yeah, and retry. Oh, and somebody said, this was well done, they found another constituency to insult and offend.
Oh?
The disabled.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about it. We have a call, though. Yeah.
We do have to talk about that.
Oh, and then they hung up.
Huh? Why'd they?
Already, usually people actually talk to us for a couple seconds before they hang up.
Usually.
But kudos for you, caller, for knowing what it was you wanted.
This thing. Okay, so wait. I'm going to get serious now.
Yes,
because this thing that happened in the Senate yesterday. Silly me. I actually still like to think that the Senate Republicans are not, when I think of the whacked out Republicans, I'm always thinking House. I'm sorry. I mean, how silly of me. Because the vote yesterday shows that the Republicans in the Senate, with the exception of a handful, are just as crazy. It is a crazy reason that they didn't vote for a bill that was signed into law by President H.W. Bush that was voted on and voted for by a ton of Republican senators just 12 years ago, right? It's amazing. This is a crystallization of what has happened to that party in a decade. They've gone from, I don't know, I thought they were whacked out back then, and then look at that. Look at this.
This is a bill backed by Robert Dole. Showed up.
They actually wheeled Dole, who looks like he's not long for this world, wheeled him out onto the Senate floor, hoping, because he was the original sponsor of the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yeah.
And this is this vote was to ratify a United Nations treaty, which essentially codifies the ADA as a worldwide
standard to which to aspire.
And 126 or something nations of the world have already ratified this. Guess who hasn't?
And guess
the country that it came from. And guess why we haven't? Because Rick Santorum apparently managed to convince a vast majority of Republican senators that this was a way that the United Nations was going to somehow take over the sovereignty of the United States of America, which is insane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give Santorum too much credit, because if you follow, as I am forced to do, if you follow the sort of Tea Party, party line and stuff like that, if you track what they're saying, it was coming from all of those folks. I read somewhere yesterday that one of the senators said, the number of people they heard opposed to this treaty just absolutely blew out of the water the number of people they heard in favor of it. Because, you and I...
Because they're whipped up by
by the craziness.
The crazy
By
people.
The absolute craziness. Oh, we got a call here. We'll get...
Hello, caller.
Hi.
Hi. Go ahead.
They're talking about the sovereignty of the United States of America. Well, I wonder how the sovereignty works when all these other states secede.
Yeah. Right. That's a good question. That's a really good question. We're so
worried. We're worried about who has. We gotta have our own sovereign nation. Except that Texas wants to pull away from us.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. I hadn't thought of that angle. Yeah, excellent.
Well, I guess but that's the argument. That UN, they have too much power over us. They're telling us what to do.
I feel that. I feel like the boot of the UN on my back and of my neck constantly. What are these? Here, I'm so sick of saying, are they fucking nuts?
Yeah, they're just cowards. I mean, look, and we should note that our very own Pat Toomey was one of the people who voted against it. And I was surprised, maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but it just seemed like, he tweeted, "I just voted against this thing." And that was pretty much it as far as a statement from his office went yesterday, as far as I could tell. So it may be one of those things where it's just an absolutely craven surrender to the worst elements in his own base. I have to assume that Pat Toomey is intelligent enough to know what was at stake and what was not at stake with this bill, and that he knows better. But that he just
he thought somebody was going to be positioned to his right the next time he's in a primary fight for the Senate in 100 years. This is insanity.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you.
Cravenness doesn't even begin to be an caller. Are you there?
Oh,
yes.
Hi.
There.
Okay. That's such a great. These people. I'm sorry, caller. Thank you. That was a great point. Great.
Thanks for the call. Take care.
It gets me sputtering.
And the thing that I think is really worrisome about it is this was, as you said, a treaty that required the United States to do absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
So what happens when there's a treaty for, say, global climate change or something like that actually might require us to change
I don't think we've
our way?
ratified a treaty in a gazillion years. Somebody look it up. What's the last treaty that the Senate managed to ratify? Go ahead, caller. Hi.
Go ahead. You're on the air.
How you doing?
Good.
Fine.
Hey, this physical cliff, didn't the Congress, they made that physical cliff. We have no physical cliff. Sure, we got to get our deficit straightened out and all that. But the media, the news media is making a big deal out of it. Congress is making a big deal. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's a bunch of bullshit as usual. But have a nice day.
I gotta thank you very much. I was waiting for the have a nice day. That is my favorite caller by far. He calls up always with that, and that was a little Emily Littell in there, which was wonderful. About the physical cliff, and he's always like, this is have a nice day. I love him. He makes my day every time. Okay, but somebody really should. When is the last time the Senate of the United States ratified a treaty?
Maybe the Bush administration would be my guess.
It sure wouldn't be when any Democrat was in the presidency. So what do you make of the fact that it seems like they're just as recalcitrant, clueless, refusing to accept what, again, reality, what is going to become of us with them? I mean, they're destroying their own party. That's fine with me in some respects, but not. We don't have a partner in governance.
Yeah,
I mean, to be serious.
And to take the caller's previous point there, I mean, whatever happens, I think they're clearly going to take their lumps with the automatic tax increases and stuff like that. But rest assured, what you're seeing now, you're going to see a reprise of it in a month or two when the debt ceiling comes back up.
They're going to do it again.
And they're going to do the same. They're going to do the exact same thing. And I don't know what to say. It's a little like, I remember after 2006, when they took their lumps in the off-year election, and the Democrats gained big in Congress, and George Bush's, and everybody perceives it quite understandably as a rebuke of the Bush administration's war in Iraq policy. Right. And Bush doubled down and did the surge. And I remember my wife saying, so they basically just did the opposite, of what the people had said, and you're seeing the same thing here. It's just this message has been sent. They clearly haven't gotten and aren't interested, and I guess there must be an assumption on their part that what they did before is going to work somehow better in 2014 than it did in 2012. That if they just stick to their guns and things get screwed up, people will blame Democrats because they'll see them as the ones in power and whatever. I mean, I guess they must assume that the ones in the Senate, there was a very revealing statement from, I think it was Mitch McConnell, who just said, most of us Republicans, the president didn't win our states. So screw them. So we're under no obligation to do anything that the president wants us to do because he didn't win our states. And I think you probably are going to see that same kind of mindset in the House now because of the success they had with redistricting and building up their little political fiefdoms. They're essentially they don't care what 56% of Americans think.
Because they don't live in their
Because
state.
they don't live in that 56%. Those 56% aren't 56% in the constituencies they have to serve. So they're just going to do whatever.
Well, we do not have a functional national government then.
Yeah, I think I would accept that almost as an axiom at this point.
I mean, look at this. Americans with Disabilities Act was the original passage of that.
Yep.
91 senators for.
Yep. Authored to no small extent by our very own Dick Thornburgh, who spoke on behalf of it. The treaty did in the Senate too.
Well, they just stuck, a stick in Thornburgh's eye, a stick in Dole's eye.
Who cares? Yeah.
They don't care.
We got a call.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, caller. Or we don't. Yep. All right. Another one who thought better of it.
Could be.
It's despicable. I mean, and the thing is, of course, I was tweeting about it yesterday because I was just so disheartened by it. One of the things I said is it's not that much different from saying I don't like mass transit, so I'm going to push this guy in a wheelchair in front of a bus to prove the point. I mean, that is what they did. Their grievance is supposedly, not that it makes any sense, but their grievance is with this United Nations and their completely bogus things about, sovereignty. And so they're just going to toss a bunch of people with disabilities off the bridge to prove a completely bogus point. It's despicable. It is absolutely despicable.
But stop and think about it again. I mean, it's just another demographic group that they have just pissed off.
Right. But, hey, how many of those people are really going to... Those gimps just want something from government. That's what they want. Right? I mean, I think this is kind of what we're dealing with is those of us who are for it, what did we do for it? We didn't do that much. I know that there was a letter circulated a couple months ago by Mike Lee of Utah and some other people, but I didn't get up in arms about it. Those Tea Party people, they got up in arms. Their desire to defeat this bill was more rabid because it was completely misinformed by these completely bogus and hyped up fears, but they worked in the sense that they got people riled up. And the people who were opposed it cared much more than the people who were for it. And that's the dynamic is you've got a party that's essentially running a base election every time they turn out now. Because, they just seem to have got.
Do you know there are no different? I often think of, in the Middle East where all those angry Arab men spill out onto the street and, cue the angry men, bang. Well, we've got them here, and it's and in the Arab world, leadership knows how to keep those guys jumping and working for them. Right. And here in this country, that's what the Republican Party does with its crazies. The
key difference is so many of the people they turn out in the streets are young, and so many of the people that these guys turn out are old. And I think that's maybe the saving grace for us is you're seeing bitter old people lashing out, raging against the dying of the light, as it were.
Well, the light died in their heads a long time ago. And speaking of old people, do you see the oldest person in the world died again? Happens all the time.
The second, for the second time? No,
it just.
That may have been his secret.
It was a woman. Oh. Women tends to be women.
Right.
Generally speaking. And the thing is that you see this headline all the time. And it's always led me to think, God forbid I should ever be named the world's oldest person because it means you're going to die real soon.
Well,
you get my drift?
that is the thing about being very old.
Well, I'm just saying. Here's the headline. World's oldest person dies at 116.
Wow.
Okay.
There you go.
Fine and dandy. But so that means someone now, since Bessie Cooper of Monroe, Georgia, has shuffled off her mortal coil, some other old lady, maybe 115, who knows, is now been given the crown. She's no longer the runner-up. Here you are, Miss Oldest American in the world. Whatever. And so she's going to... It's a sure sign you're next to drop dead.
No, that's not.
No,
at all
you don't
true.
see it that way?
Because if 100... Okay, let's say the next oldest person is 115. If somebody who's 113 dies, who cares? They were only the second or third oldest. Nobody writes a story about them.
Okay, so you only get it... Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Okay, she was just cut down in her prime at 113. It just wasn't her time to go yet.
Here's something interesting. His mother, Sidney Cooper, the son, said his mother always said her best years were in her 80s. I love it.
That's funny.
Don't you love that?
Yeah.
And I'm sure she meant it. So you just think about that.
Now, how old is her son? He's probably got to be in his 80s himself, or pretty close.
He's old. He be old. Oh, see, here it is. It's like a constant horse race. I mean, this is big stuff. It's like there's these little worlds and universes that you don't think that exist. But in the world's oldest person universe, Bessie Cooper gained the distinction of being the oldest living human from the Guinness World Records in January of 2011. So she held the title a pretty dang long time, Bessie did. She briefly moved into second place when the record keepers unearthed a woman in Brazil.
Literally unearthed her.
No. Who was, get this, 48 days older.
Uh-oh. And then she met with a tragic accident.
Yeah, right.
Somebody cut her brake line.
But yeah, so that woman in Brazil, though,
she actually died in a coal mining accident.
She was this.
St. Peter, don't come calling.
I just hope everybody at home is laughing as much as you are. Do you remember who that oldest person to ever have lived, as far as we know, was and where she lived?
No.
Oh, because it was a great story. She was Parisian, and she lived. No, she wasn't Parisian. Southern France. Whatever. So she was French. She died in 97 at the age of 122.
Wow.
And she was sharp as a tack till the end.
And like a true French person, she smoked cigarettes right up until the very end, I'm sure.
I think she did. And there was something about where she had this apartment and she'd made a deal with somebody when she first went into it that upon her death, he could have it or something. And she buried him. She buried his son, his son's son, his son,
right.
Something like that. Oh, Bessie didn't vote this year, though.
Because she didn't have ID.
Well, yeah. I bet that's true.
Sorry, ma'am, a carriage license is not on the list of approved documents.
Okay. Well, did you hear?
I take a break, by the way.
Oh, God, yeah, right.
I'm just,
definitely have to
keeping an eye on that clock.
Thank you very much. I think we shall, as Mr. Potter has suggested, take a break from this constant frivolity, and we shall return.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
36 countries, 150 artisan groups, a world of handmade treasures, and one place to discover them all. 10,000 villages, home decor, jewelry, gifts, all one of a kind, fashioned one at a time. At 10,000 Villages, each item tells a story.
When somebody else takes that beautiful item, I want to carry that beauty to them.
They're gifts that give twice, because 10,000 Villages is a fair trade retailer, providing sustainable income to artisans in developing countries.
Fair trade has been the possibility to have what we have now.
Enriching their lives while bringing exotic elegance into yours. Surprise your senses. Express your style. Experience the new. Step into 10,000 Villages.
I feel very beautiful making these products, and I want all our customers to feel beautiful wearing them.
Pittsburgh City Paper's annual holiday guide magazine is available now. Pick up one today for great holiday gift ideas from your favorite local merchants. Plus the Smashing Pumpkins, The Crucible, Olivia Newton-John, and News of the Weird. Pittsburgh City Paper, available at over 1,700 locations throughout Western Pennsylvania, and on the web at pghcitypaper.com, and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
I didn't know about chronic obstructive pulmonary disease until I took the wheel and lent my support to Drive for COPD. Help Americans take action against this leading cause of death by logging on to driveforcopd.org to learn more. I'm Nancy Cartwright, the voice of Bart Simpson, and I drive for COPD.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
You can know it.
Boys and girls.
Oh, here we are. Wait, I got finger puppets. They're so cute. Look at the detail. The cow not only has little pink udders, but she's eating grass. Look at this. Look at this. How cute is this? Wait a minute.
And these are products from where? From whence?
Bolivia.
Oh, is that right? And you can get them at that 10,000 Villages.
At 10,000 Villages, I every time I go in there, I grab another. Here's an elephant. The elephant's great.
Oh yeah. If my wife's listening, these are toys for.
No, I was
Christmas.
actually going to give you these.
Oh, that's very
Cormac.
sweet. Thank you. He loves elephants.
Oh, I thought
He
it
says,
was.
what's an elephant say? And he'll go like this. He just like he does the little trunk thing. They must have taught him that in daycare. He does lots of animal sounds. He does a very convincing horse, actually. So he's got that going for him. Yeah, he's already got a job
Okay,
skill.
well, here you can create an entire story. The donkey's eating grass, too. Okay. That's at 10,000 Villages, which you hear advertised on this program, and they cost next to nothing. They just have big barrels of them. You can find the animals you want, and they're so cute. Handmade in Bolivia, where whoever made them was fairly compensated.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a wonderful store.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I hope somebody could figure out how to protect the Bolivian elephants from extinction. Wait, what?
It's not, you don't have to, listen, it's not like we have native elephants here. We don't either, but we're aware of their existence.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah? So, speaking of animals, Wall Street Journal reported on a bizarre trend. I shouldn't have given these.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead. You just keep playing. Okay. Go ahead.
No, it's fine.
The Wall Street Journal reported on a relatively new thing, but it's starting to take off, and it involves people who love their animals and
too much
and have trouble letting go.
Yeah.
And we've heard that people have their animals stuffed, essentially, right, and preserved, so they have them sitting on the chair just like they used to.
Yeah.
Only, of course, they're dead.
Yeah.
And very bizarre.
Yeah.
Oh, and this reminds me of, in the Sunday New York Times, there was one of those questions that they send to the
ethicist or whatever, the ethics question guy. Oh, no.
Yeah, it wasn't the ethics question guy. Yeah. It was less. It's in the style section where some guy, here's the question. What the hell was that question?
This is a great digression. I'm still waiting to find out what the Wall Street Journal had to say. But
It's all coming
Okay, all right.
back. Hang on.
let's take another break.
No, the question was, my pet rabbit of 8 years died, and I asked my boss if I could
off.
a day. No, she insisted on 3 days off. Yes.
Did you get him?
I think so. And the guy who's answering the questions completely commiserated and said, oh, I know when my dog goes, I'm going to be inconsolable for... I'm thinking, where do these people work? You get 3 days off. I remember... You don't get any... Is there even a bereavement policy? If somebody dies real close to you...
You got personal days here. I mean, but,
You don't... Even 3 days, let's say you're just expected to go to work.
Yeah.
A pet? I have mourned many animal companion.
Mm-hmm.
You love them so much you can't see straight. But you go to work. I was so stunned by it. 3 days! She thought perfectly reasonable. And so did he.
Yeah.
Oh, your wife just said thanks for the puppets. Aren't they cute? You're going to have to come up with stories. Those are from Fort Cormac. Okay. So now that was one of the pet things that just blew me away. The other one is the Wall Street Journal today. So let's say your dog dies and you just can't let go.
Right.
But you're not so crazy that you're going to have the dog stuffed and
or kill yourself so you can be with him in paradise.
Sitting by the hearth or whatever. So what a lot of people, I don't know about a lot, but enough to be found and interviewed for this front page story in the Wall Street Journal. You know what they're doing?
I don't know.
Well, first of all, let's just say this. They do take the animal, now deceased, to a crematory. Okay, so the animal has been reduced to ashes. So the question now is, what happens to the ashes? Can we think of anything? We know that people's ashes have been rocketed into space, like Hunter Thompson, I think, and others. You could wear the ashes in a little amulet around your neck so that Puffy is always with you.
Is that what they do, really?
No.
Oh. What do they do?
Shall I tell you?
Yes,
you don't want to. You don't want to.
No,
you can't imagine.
I can't imagine.
Okay, stop and think. What are the ashes made? They're made out of. It's carbon, essentially, mostly carbon.
Yep.
What can carbon?
They have them compressed into a diamond.
Potter absolutely nailed it. They have under incredibly high heat. You compress the cremains that are carbon into, it makes a diamond. It makes a diamond.
From man's best friend to a girl's best friend.
That's right. And the people who are doing this, not surprisingly, are women. And get this, if you have less than a cup of ashes, you can make a 1 carat diamond.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, what do you mean? Yeah, sure.
No, it doesn't take. It doesn't.
You know that about making diamonds?
I did actually know that it didn't take a lot. If I was De Beers, I'd be very concerned about this. They worked very hard to maintain their diamond monopoly all these years.
Well, that's called zirconium, isn't it?
No, I think zirconium's something different.
No, I think that they're like manufactured diamonds.
I always thought zirconium was a different thing, but
okay, well maybe you're right.
If I was De Beers, I would go out and kill everybody's animals.
Okay.
Everybody's house pets.
Well, here I'm going to show you, those of you who are watching, I'm going to show you a picture of a teacup chihuahua named Tetley. And then
before and after.
Yes, I'm going to show you. Oh, no, zircon. The light blue zircon gemstone that Tetley became. Okay?
Oh, my God.
There's Tetley, and there's Tetley as a stone. See? After Ms. Pylon's cat, Meowie.
That's the dumbest freaking name I've ever heard for a...
Yeah, Meowie died last year at the age of 20.
Really?
Yeah, that's long. She shipped Meowie's ashes to DNA to Diamonds.
That's the name of the business.
Yes, that's one of them. She specified that she wanted Meowie to be made into 2 blue diamonds, which would evoke the color of Meowie's eyes. Ms. Pylon had the diamonds set alongside a sapphire into a ring she wears every day.
Now, where did she get the sapphire
and
from?
And she says this, you don't want to know.
She pulverized her husband. Its blue color reminded me of his eyes.
It is a little bit easier, she says, to know that I had taken my sadness and turned it into something beautiful. Meowie was kind of a little diva, so I thought 2 blue diamonds would be a fitting tribute. People are nuts. People are nuts.
What is zircon blue? Is that the name?
Zircon. Zircon. That's what. Yeah. So zircon, I think, is maybe what they call a manufactured diamond, not a naturally occurring diamond.
Emerald green is people. It's people. It's like that's where we're headed next, right?
No,
I mean, first of all, why wait for it? Here's a tip, guys. If you've got a woman you want to buy a ring for, but you can't afford...
Killer dog. Killer dog.
Just kill a house pet. It doesn't have to be hers. You don't want to be calloused about it. Just go next door, whatever.
No,
wow.
But these cost money, too. They cost
what does it cost? What did it cost?
I don't know, but it's costs, thousands. And they have ways of giving it a certain color, and it has all the makings of any normal. Yes.
Oh, look, they did. This is great. This is the front page. You know how the Wall Street Journal does those little line drawings.
There's a
line drawing of Meowie. It's got the caption Meowie. Somebody really enjoyed themselves with that story. That's what I think.
Okay, so pet diamonds cost at least $1,400, with the prices based on color and size.
Of the animal or of the diamond?
Life Gem, which is another company that does this, says it has made more than 1,000 animal diamonds. Mostly dogs and cats, but also a few birds, rabbits, horses, and 1 armadillo. And you can also throw in fur and hair, because it's all... Jeez.
Oh, boy.
All right, I don't know that I have much left. Oh, I wanted to...
This is just sort of like a weird news headline day for us, isn't it?
But this is all... Yeah, it is.
You've just dusted off. No, this is complaining. I'm just...
all of this stuff was in the papers today.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just one day in the lunacy that is the United States of America circa 2012. Now we'll sober him up here.
Okay.
Because I was going on and on, I think on Monday, that I was so depressed about climate change. And, yeah. And how, we're doomed.
Yep.
And how the right-wingers now, that ALEC. ALEC plus... some god-awful supposed think tank armed with idiots who do not, funded by ExxonMobil,
yeah,
are going to go after state laws that mandate that a small percentage of the energy created by a utility be from a
renewable source.
Thank you. I was blanking on that. Okay. And don't think they won't. They'll get rid of those things. So we're doing nothing in this country in this way.
We're going backwards.
We're going backwards. We're going backwards. So I saw this. This is weeks old, and I've been looking for the opportunity to share this with you, which I think you'll appreciate. It'll make you feel better. The problem is it's not your country.
Oh, wow.
But it's another country showing the way. It is a country, granted, a member of the European Union.
Oh, well.
Which immediately makes it suspect. Except that it's a country made of people who are largely believed to be extremely hardworking, who get less vacation time than a lot of other Europeans, although a hell of a lot more than any Americans. And it is the industrial might of the EU.
Is it the land of chocolate? Germany?
Yes.
No.
Germany's the land of chocolate?
Right, it's just an old Simpsons joke. Yeah, from the land of chocolate. It doesn't.
Oh, okay. All right, sorry.
It's okay.
So Angela Merkel is the one behind this push. And I just have it, again, it's this one of these little items, so I wish I had more information, but it says this. Germany's drive to generate more than 1/3 of its electricity from the sun and wind is boosting daytime supplies and reducing the extra cost of consuming power during daylight hours to the lowest levels in 11 years. Okay, so Germany is shooting for. They aren't telling, utilities, you got to have 2% of your. Yeah. No, 1/3 of all of this, and they expect this. Listen to this. Solar capacity may jump 43% by 2015.
Yeah.
We're just talking a few years. They're off and running.
Yep.
So, why do people say it can't be done or it can't be done efficiently or cheaply? They're cutting prices. They say that will further cut daytime prices when they get it up to 43%.
Yeah.
So won't that be helpful here when we're able to show people? Look at Germany. Germany turned to solar and wind, and look at their prices going down.
But you know what else Germany gave us? Hitler.
Yeah,
that's what you're going to get, right?
No.
That's what you're going to get.
No. Come on.
Hey, European countries prove you can have single-payer health care that works great.
That's true, and we don't listen to that.
Income mobility, class mobility in European countries is now better than it is in the United States.
Yeah, we're sort of living on, what used to be.
This is a fever dream. We're living in a fever dream. Completely off the rails. And not to revisit that type of, that's what that vote yesterday proves. It's just, in 10 years, not even 10 years.
Here I thought I was going to sober you up. I didn't mean to depress you.
Well, no, Here, I can do some finger puppet stuff.
No, I think I'm going to take a break.
Okay.
We'll take a break. We'll be back.
Stick around for more with Lynn Cullen Live after this.
Winter has arrived and it's cold outside, so get to Little's for all your UGG needs. Little's has Uggs for men, women, and children to stay warm with shearling-lined boots, shoes, and slippers. And don't forget to get your hats, gloves, scarves, and more, all available at Little's Shoes. Bring the entire family to view one of the largest in-store UGG shops in the U.S. Little's Shoes, Pittsburgh's largest family shoe store, 5850 Forbes Avenue in Squirrel Hill.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on your favorite local restaurants, museums, and shows. This week only, get discounts up to 60% on tickets to the Nutcracker. bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's exclusive e-commerce mall. bergbargains.com.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn@pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Line. Hey, we're on. Psst.
We are?
I didn't mean to interrupt your reading, though.
Yes, but you'll be glad when I tell you what I was reading.
Okay.
Because now I can share this with you. I was going back to some other of the things the state legislature. See, it appeared I depressed you, and
yes, so you
I prefer you
to leave happy.
Yes. So we're back to New Hampshire.
All right.
We hadn't even finished with them.
Okay.
After New Hampshire passed a bill allowing lawmakers to carry concealed weapons in the State House, Republican State Representative Kyle Tasker dropped his gun on the floor of the Capitol during a hearing of the Public Safety Committee. Representative Tasker was heard to say, all I could think of was, yep, that was bound to happen one of these days.
Oh. It is true that one of the arguments for, liberal gun rights is that it'll protect us from oppressive government. So maybe if a few more legislators took themselves out by accident, we'd make some progress, huh? Jesus.
Georgia.
Oh, good. This will be good.
Republicans in Georgia held a 4-hour-long meeting. The subject was Obama mind control schemes. Why are we laughing?
This just in. The CIA has been operating a secret program to make Republicans spend their time in useless meetings. That's great. What were the final results? Did they come out with anything?
No. Tired of facing protests against companies like his own, State Senator Don Balfour, who is also a Waffle House executive, authored Senate Bill 469, which sought to nullify the First Amendment. Essentially, it's freedom of assembly in select cases. Specifically, the bill imposed a $1,000 fine on people who participated in protests outside the homes of corporate executives. What is it with these people that they don't know the most basic parts of our Constitution?
They know the most basic part. It's the Second Amendment, by God. Everything else is negotiable.
Okay, well, I'm sort of done. And there was this one, I remember making fun of it at the time. This is the one in North Carolina about sea level rising.
Oh, yeah, right.
They, they acknowledged, they actually, tried to get a study. But they refused to allow the study to mention the words climate change, global warming, or I think sea level rise. As one of the Mother Jones reporters.
So wait, it's a study of sea level rise, and they can't use the phrase sea level rise?
Well, here's what the reporter ends up saying. She says, the sea level along the coast of North Carolina is expected to rise about 1 meter by the end of the century. But business interests in the state are worried that grim projections that account for climate-induced sea level rise will make it harder for them to develop along the coastline.
Yes.
Yeah. So policymakers in the state plan to deal with the issue by writing a law essentially requiring inaccurate projections.
Right. I remember that. Yeah. It would be better if they couldn't use the phrase sea level rise. They would just have to call it thingy.
Unbelievable. So, getting to
and the oceans will.
Getting to your paper.
Oh dear, yes.
You wrote a very sweet piece on Rick Sebak, who you suggest is like the most beloved person in town.
Rick Sebak could have you and I killed. And then do a documentary. No, he wouldn't. He's so sweet-natured fellow.
He's such a sweet guy.
He could kill us, and then he could do a documentary about
left-wing
journalists who aren't here anymore.
You pose the question though. What's left for him to document?
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I think that's, there are moments. So the reason that the piece is tied to just this past week, he came out with a new thing, 25 Things I Like About Pittsburgh, to celebrate the fact that he has been making films
QED
here for 25 years. And so there are a couple of moments in that film where I was kind of like, There's an old Onion, headline, which is U.S. Department of Retro warns we are running out of past. And there were some moments in that. There was one where
you can make fun of some of this stuff. I mean,
he did a thing on retaining walls, which I just kind of thought, what next?
That was one of his favorite
That
things?
was one of the things he liked.
Retaining walls. Oh, how cute.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of it, he actually did come across a pretty decent retaining wall or two. I will definitely say that for the man.
We require them.
But I think he also, I think part of what's sometimes I get rubbed a little wrong way, not so much by what he does, but by kind of what people take from it. And the sort of Sebak-ification, I guess, for lack of a better word, of this area where there's always this sort of thing like, oh, Pittsburghers are so friendly and we love our football and we love our Permane sandwiches. And I just feel like sometimes we're not hobbits. You know what I mean? We're not these friendly people who just enjoy good. I mean, some of us are jerks. You know what I mean? And
I so agree with you. And every time I read that kind of stuff, I think, geez, first of all, I think there's something embarrassing about it.
Yeah.
Because anyone who needs to keep telling themselves that they're somehow the best or special or something obviously isn't sure
about it. Yeah.
And there's something, it's so transparent that and then the friendliest people in the world. Listen, I've lived in otd places. Let me tell you, Pittsburgh has no whole, it's
we don't have a monopoly
ludicrous
on friendliness.
I'd always thought the friendliest people in the world, frankly, came from my home state of Wisconsin. I mean, there is
Wisconsin.
That Midwestern. Hey guys, you want a brat and a beer? I mean, they're sweet and non-pretentious and same kind of thing. People are people.
Right. I will say, because this was as you say, it was a pretty upbeat assessment of him. I mean, I think the thing about Sebak that I really admire is that he doesn't just sort of dwell in the past that way. A lot of what his thing is just showing past and present and the way the one informs the other. And I think, that in some sense, I think probably does distinguish Pittsburgh from a lot of other places. A lot of other places in this country have had a really hard time sort of hanging on to and valuing their past. It gets bulldozed under or written out of people's memories. And here there is a sort of fierce pride to it. And I think to some extent Sebak's a symptom of that, and I think to some extent he's a cause of that. And that in that sense, he really has over 25 years help to define this city and to ensure that trait does get passed along from generation to generation. Years from now, we'll probably be remembering what it was like to remember with Rick Sebak, and I think that's a pretty good legacy for that guy to have compiled. And again, he could have me killed if he wanted.
But I also want to say, as somebody who was not native to Pittsburgh, one of the problems with this area is its insularity and its self...
Sure.
There's part of me that just wants to scream, enough!
Yeah.
Okay?
That is the flip side of it. I mean, I have to say, that is the flip side. I think I've said this in other contexts.
Self-reverential and self-referential.
I think some of that may be the flip side too of, you always, it's reaction formation. There were hard times, a lot of people left, and so you have to take some sort of weird perverse pride in those who stayed behind. And I think in some ways, I agree with you. There are times when that can be problematic, but to the flip side, it's a flip side of a coin that has a lot of good things to say about us.
Okay.
Too.
Well, I appreciate it, and Rick Sebak is really might be one of the sweetest human beings in the universe, and dang good at what he
does. Yeah, no question.
Joellen writes, where do I get this done? She's talking about carbonizing her animals. I have a German Shepherd and a couple medium-sized mutts. I could get a whole new wardrobe of
I was thinking of somebody this could be the case where the cat hoarder becomes like Liberace or whatever. It's just walking around with the vest, just the bedazzled.
Well, Joellen, if you really want to know, I refer you to today's Wall Street Journal, where they do have the names of some of these companies that do in fact do this. And also we will end with Tom Sokolowski, who always with a very nice...
you shouldn't read that out loud. That was a personal message for us. Anyway, it's time to end the show.
But I want to do it because of this word.
Oh, yeah.
Tom writes, a brilliantly frivolous show with just the right soupçon of sobriety.
Yeah. I'm surprised. That's a word I have pronounced just that way, and I guess that's right, because I've never actually
I think so.
heard
Isn't
anyone
there
else?
that squiggle under the C?
Yeah, yes, the C, yeah.
And what does it mean? A little
like a little dash, a little, yeah.
dash? A soupçon?
Yeah. Probably has to do with...
Sokolowski cannot get through even a little one sentence without dropping some
knowledge.
Frenchified thing in. A soupçon.
Yeah,
Of
Frenchified.
sobriety.
Yeah.
It's a good...
It is. He probably believes in disabled people in other countries having rights.
You think?
Yeah, with his Frenchy talk.
Fucking radical. He probably believes in solar power, too. Jesus Christ. All right. Well, I think that does do it for this brilliantly frivolous program. And I want to thank Chris Potter for...
It's always good to be here.
His jocular...
Ed McMahon-like. Ed McMahon-like
good
for all
laughs
here.
today. And Jess, who has not been holding up her giggling...
yeah.
I think she looks a little done in. She took a personal day yesterday, and I think it did her in.
Oh?
She might need another day to recover from her personal day.
Did you lose a parakeet or something?
She made she baked 1 million cupcakes in the form of the human breast.
Oh yeah?
For her boyfriend.
Wow. I'm going to say this. Every man in the audience right now is wondering how they can get your phone number.
One little cupcake breast for every year of Andy's life.
Holy mackerel.
I'll tell you.
You lucky son of a bitch.
Yeah. Man, does he know how good he's got it. He doesn't? Well, we're here to tell him. Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.